Welcome to another exciting episode of Creative Lounge. My name is Ahmed Mohammed Bello, and today we are at Ventures Park, the space where tech meets art. And we'll be talking with the CEO of Ventures Park. She goes by the name Tracy Okoro. Come, let's have some fun. Thanks for joining us, Tracy.
Thank you.
You're welcome to Creative Lounge.
Thank you.
A lot of people have been, they know about Ventures Park. Can you tell us what inspired, this kind of institution?
I mean, I think I would be fair, in saying that I probably might never know the full range of emotions that went into, sort of inspiring the founder, Mr. Kola, I know, to put this place together. But from the stories I've had him share over and over, he needed to solve a need. And that need came at the intersection of, technology and entrepreneurship. We had done a lot of research around how we wanted to support startups. And we found out that one of the key things was infrastructure. So after startups go through the program, right, and they get grants to be able to fund their programs, we see a lot of them were using the bulk amount of the money that that was designated for them to actually build their business to pay for rent for office spaces. And so in order to solve that, the park came about. So the park was our idea of creating an enabling environment, right, where startups can tap into their creative juices and sit and mingle with other people who are in the same ecosystem and craft out market creating solutions, right? And also because the founder is also one of the biggest art collectors I know of right now in Nigeria. He wanted to infuse also a part of him. And so that's why it's art all over the place.
Okay. So how are you able to juxtapose art and tech? This is a very artistic place.
Yes.
You have artworks all around. So how are you able to juxtapose art and tech?
I'll use myself as an example.
Okay.
So I grew up sort of like an artist, right? So my mom actually taught us to draw. And we would come back from school and just start to, scribble and draw and clean and all that. But then I went further into painting. What's the idea around painting? And if you're someone who paints, you see that it's an emotional conversation. And so it comes from a place of trying to empty yourself on the canvas. I tell people that art is God's way of being dramatic, right? He wants to show himself in a different way. And so for me, art and tech came at the intersection of wanting to create something, right? Wanting to pour out of myself. And technology also is an enabler. Technology enables you to pour out of what that you have. And also art is also an expression of what's inside. So bringing that together, the art in the tech is like the conversation of the science and the art of business. So the art is the passion, right, that drives you to want to go out there and build that solution for people. That I don't know, like a je ne sais quoi, right, that pushes you to want to go out there and create impact. But the science of it is, how do you make money, right? Making money is now, how do I leverage technology to sort of put it out there to have more people access this product? But demand, the only way you really can prove demand is that people are willing to pay for your solution much more than the already existing solutions, right? And so that's how I can put the two of them together.
For there are artists out there, how do you think they can, work with the space as an artist?
I mean, the space was literally designed for entrepreneurs to sort of come in and think. And like I talked about,
is there a studio space?
Juices. So think of the whole place like a studio space, right? The different places are sort of created with different sort of situations in mind. So for example, we have like this full gallery-wide space, right? So for individual founders who probably want to be able to commingle and sit together, to be able to share knowledge and expertise with other people, they can come in here and feel very artistic to be able to do that. But for people who, you know, their own creative space only works for them, there are spaces where they can come in and do that, right? And then we also have like the other workspace downstairs where it gives us that sort of classroomy feel, right? Where people are not sort of sitting together, but they have access to each other if they would wish to do that. So as much as it's not very artistic in the fact that, oh, there's studios where you can record and stuff like that, but that artistic feel is sort of ingrained in the way that everybody is able to sort of pull from each other. And art is about pulling out that expression from inside of you. So artists can also come here and, but you see, the beautiful thing about it is that we can do more for the artist, right? And what we can do is what we call the creative enterprise. We want you to be an artist, but we want you to be able to sell that art that you're making.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know you're a collector of art.
Yes.
I found out. So does that have, you know, anything to do with the kind of pieces we have here?
So the artwork that I currently have, property of the founder, right? I don't think any one of my collections can make it on the walls yet. Oh, no, I have one. I have one that's actually downstairs, right? But the artworks are intentionally chosen. They speak to the different values, right, of the organization, but the main mother hen organization and then the different parts. For example, you have the one of the child, right? So it means that's how we create. We're like children. We're constantly curious, right? Iterating, right? Ideating, right? You have like this recycled sort of paperwork. So it just shows you that cycle that we do. We're constantly going back and forth. For us, it's about moving through the value chain, right? So you ideate, you move to MVP, you go to prototyping, you go to market. It can take you back to ideation we're fluid in that way that we're constantly building, constantly supporting entrepreneurs that are building, solving some of the hardest problems in Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
You, what kind of art do you collect, personally?
I think mine is at the crossroad of hyper-realistic art.
Okay.
Right? But then also there's now the new ones that are like the ones where art meets tech, right? So you see artwork that you can, that they've infused the ability for you to use a certain kind of glasses, right? To see the sort of hidden version of it, right? Then there's also, I think maybe when my younger years, I loved work that just had to do with what they call them, like watercolor paints, right? Because it just sort of reminded you of the old days, right? I mean, there's no Picasso or anything, but it gives you that very simple, clean, Epicurean feel, like you were still in the 50s, right? And the 60s and the 70s, yes.
Interesting. Who would you say is your most favorite artist in Nigeria?
Oh, please don't say that, because I have a lot of people and they probably will be watching. I love a lot of people, right? I think that there are two people who at the moment, right, are on the top of my list, right? There is Bruce and then there is Victor.
That's our Baba.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's Victor Hikemana, right? Yeah. So those are the two people that I really care about. But there's still a lot of people, artists that I really respect their work.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about the business of art and tech and AI. A lot of artists, I'm an artist, a lot of artists are scared of AI, traditional artists, you know. How do you think this is beneficial? If you think it's beneficial, how do you think it's beneficial to, you know, the art industry? Yeah. I know for tech, it's a plus. But do you think it's beneficial to?
AI is beneficial to everything.
Okay.
But just like every other thing, there has to be some level of balance, right? That's why there's a need now for regulations around the ethical use of artificial intelligence, right? Yeah. So whether it's machine learning, large language models, whatever it is that you're doing around AI, you have to set up your parameters of what you want to use. So regardless of whether it is in you're leveraging AI to build technology driven businesses, or you're leveraging AI to build creative enterprises. It's all the same, right? Which there's so much. AI is part of technology, right? It's an enabler. It helps you. So I think that artists need to figure out how can they leverage on artificial intelligence, right, to enable probably their art do more, right? So for example, I did different kinds or versions of that artwork that you can create, right? I remember when, what was this kind of art that came out and people were sort of buying so much?
NFTs?
NFTs, right? People never knew that there was anything like that, and then finally it came out. But it seemed to have died off.
Of course.
Like a natural death, right? But you see, the idea around leveraging technology or any tool whatsoever to enable your business, it's not necessarily that the person will die there. It's the fact that you are nimble and agile enough to keep moving and pivoting with time, right? So do I think that a time might come and AI tool will phase out and something else will come up? Most definitely, right?
Okay.
So artists just need to be able to move with time. At the moment, right? Consumers of art are looking at what's new, what's next, right? There's still going to be traditional consumers of art who just want the regular thing. They're going to be people like me who are not necessarily looking for artificial images or whatever. I don't know what kind of art that people are going to be able to make with AI, but I know that the ramifications of what can be done the volume is amazing if you just think about the capacity that AI brings to the table. So I don't think they should be scared. I think figure out what you want to do, find out the ethical considerations or the ethical backends around it, and then push it on.
Well, for someone like me, I'm not very much a fan of AI.
Why?
Yeah, I just think it's not original. You know, for a traditional artist, you sit down, you know, think and make something this beautiful. And
the car you drive, is it manual or automatic?
It's a hybrid.
Of automatic and manual, right? Well, that means you sort of embraced both worlds. So you have to find a way to embrace this world too, right? Because if you say, oh, you're a traditional artist, well, your consumers, the people that pay you, they're moving. So, and that's the thing about creatives. A lot of them, when we're doing creative enterprising, we find out that a lot of creatives did not necessarily move to the science of it. They stay in the art of it. I'm passionate, you know, it's my traditional work. It took me years to create this. But you see, you have to move. The world is moving at the speed of light, right? And you have to pay your bills. So the art won't pay your bills. The science of the art, that's what pays your bill. Because, you know, what do you want to do? You have one artwork, right? How do you make sure that that artwork gets to millions of people? Technology.
We're going to go on a short break, but before we go, I and a few friends attended a children's day program where we taught them how to paint, and I want you to enjoy the sight and sounds of it. We'll be right back. You are welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is Creative Lounge, and in the house with me is still Tracy Okoro, the CEO of Ventures Park, and we're talking about what inspired, you know, setting up a very beautiful space like this. You're welcome back.
Thank you so much.
How do you see Ventures Park, you know, contributing to the local art scene? Are there incentives, initiatives, collaboration with artists, you know?
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, in the past, we've done programs, right, where we sort of partner with the Goethe Institute, right? Around art, around creativity. We've done programs around that just to make sure that we sort of pull the artists, the people who get lost in the art of it, pull them into the enterprise side of things, right? But now we're doubling down to make sure that we create more art-centric programs that take cognizance of, the passion, right? But also push it towards the demand side of it. How do we make sure that you stay in the business, right, of creating the things that you love? But there's an argument where people say stuff like, when you put it out there, when you market it, right, you commodify it. It becomes like a commodity. Art is beauty. Art is all that stuff. But all that stuff will feed you, right? Yeah. So you want to find sort of like an intersection of where people who love and appreciate the art that you create are able to buy it, right? And that's where we come in, and so we're working with that. One of the things we're doing is making sure that we partner with the government and all the private sector organizations. For example, the iDice program, right, that is currently has started going on. The Bank of Industry has already kickstarted implementation around that. We're looking at working and partnering with the different organizations that are going to be implementing that program to sort of double down on the creative enterprise of it, make sure that jobs are created, people learn new skills, right?
Okay.
People, not just for the fun of it, right? That people also can make money from teaching this art, right? From sort of passing down that knowledge. Yeah. So we have the thought around the art academy, right? Where people can come and teach the skills of painting, the skills of being a content creator, producer. So you make money off teaching people what you know, but you can also make money producing the service and the product that you create.
I look forward to seeing that.
That most definitely.
So how would you say art and tech contributes to community building?
Oh, two of them are they're all enablers, right?
Okay.
I feel like art enables me to be the very best of who I am, right? The moment I take that easel, the moment I'm looking at the canvas, I already have to dig right inside of me. And so that seems to say to you that art sort of pushes out the very best in you. So art is an enabler, technology is also an enabler. And so when the two of them come together, it's like you bring, it's like a kaleidoscope of colors, like, you burst out on that canvas. And so art and tech are both enablers, and then leveraging the both of them to be able to drive human potential forward is one of the biggest keys to driving economic prosperity.
Okay. So do you have any future plans for Ventures Park?
Oh yes. We have massive plans. We're hoping, because one of our theory of change is that we want to constantly support mission-driven founders, right? Who are building market-creating solutions, right? That are plugging gaps, right? Infrastructural gaps. They're plugging, creating access, right? Access to quality education, access to many things. Those are the people we're supporting. But aside from founders, we're supporting innovators, we're supporting professionals, right? Everybody who is in that value chain of driving economic prosperity, we're there. And so we want to be able to sort of amplify that support, right, across Africa, making sure that our footprints are around and echoing that impact that we want to see.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to ask you this. If you had to visit any museum or gallery in the world, which would it be?
I think that, I have a theory around galleries and museums.
Okay.
I think that art isn't to be caged. I think that art isn't to be housed. I think that art is to be free, right? So I think that when you put art in a room and you bring spectators, I'm gonna get sort of picked up for this, but you belittle it, right? So I'm not a fan. I do go to gallery. I'm not a fan of galleries. So I'm not sort of dreaming to go visit any gallery. But my dream around art is to see the wonders that art can do, much more than just being an artwork, but how can art actually change lives, right? I know that there's this kid, I think it's called Kene, the autistic kid, right? Who does amazing works of art. How art has sort of changed him is a testament of how art can change lives, right? And Kene can't be caged in a room, or Kene can't, the total transformation of what art has done for Kene cannot necessarily be felt from the works that he sort of showcases, right? It is in his life, the story that has been told of his journey and how art has played a role in that journey. That's what I want to see. I want to see checkered pieces of how art has delivered sustainable impact across cities, across lives, across families, in the entire universe, totally.
Okay, interesting. What's that one art piece, your first collected art piece?
I think That was from my mom.
Okay, your mom is an artist?
Oh yes, I told you she taught us how to do art, right? So my mom, and I think that was her. She did a sketch of with my father's hand.
Interesting.
That was my father's hand, I think, and she did it. It was a shaded, so she didn't use paint or anything. But later on, she finally put on some watercolor in it, just pencil, right? It was like charcoal pencil though. So what I loved about that art was you could feel the realness in the veins, right? Like it spoke to the person who was drawing and the person who was the muse in that work. You could see the emotion of both the person who was being drawn and the person that was drawing was very visible in that work. And so that was the first work I collected. I think that made me want to go and try that. I started first to try and trace it out and see if I could replicate it. And that's when she first caught me and said, no, you don't have to try to trace it. To just draw. And you keep doing it. The more you do it, people say practice makes perfect. I don't believe in that. Practice makes progress. The more you do it, the more you get better at it.
So because it's your dad's hand, it makes it very special to you.
Yeah, but I think that was the first art piece that pushed me into discovering that artistic part of me. So yes, that's why it's very special to me.
And amongst the collection, which will you say is your favorite art piece?
None at the moment. I have none at the moment.
Okay.
I have none. The reason why I have none at the moment is what I want evolves. I'm weird that way. Like after a while, that's no longer what I want to be looking at. So I would give it out, right, and come back for other things. So that's the thing. People say to me, "I'm not an original lover of art. Once you love art, you love it forever." Well, I love art, but what I love changes per time, per season. Yeah.
Okay. There are artists out there. There are tech guys out there, and they're all watching. Say some words of inspiration to them.
I'm going to tell artists and creators to get out from the art of it and come to the enterprise of it, right? The science of it. Come, let's build more, right? And someone will say to me, oh, we're already selling art. No, but we can do a lot more than just sell art, right? We can work with you to build an enterprise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on this show.
Thank you.
I look forward to having you some other time.
Thank you so much.
This is where we're going to draw the curtains on this episode of Creative Lounge. My name is Ahmed Mohammed Bello. Join us same time, same station next week. Bye for now.